Hey students, in this lesson we're going to look at the Code.org Accelerated Intro course, and we're moving on to Lesson 7, the Artist 2. So in the Artist 5, we learned about loops, really, as applied to the artist. We did loops right away in the first lesson of this course as well, but we learned that there's this fundamental piece of every algorithm, or at least many algorithms, called iteration, and loops are one way to achieve that iteration. And of course, looping, iteration, just means repeating something multiple times. Now in the artist, the one that you started on Lesson 5, you learned that looping is a fantastic way to draw a shape, right? If I want to draw a square, I can use a repeat 4 times loop, because a square has 4 sides, okay? If I string up these loops, one after the other, perhaps with some setup moves in between, this can be a really powerful technique for the artist drawings as well. If you want to draw lots of shapes, you can actually click on that loop, you can hit Control-C, and then when you hit Control-V, you can copy that chunk of code, and each one of those is another square. Okay, so loops are a very quick way to make shapes. Doesn't have to be just squares, it could be triangles, pentagons, hexagons, whatever. Well, moving on to Lesson 7, they start, Bubble 1, by just trying to refresh your memory, right? Can you draw a triangle with a repeat block? And that's why they say with only 3 blocks, they're trying to force you to use that loop. So go ahead and pause this video and do that quick. Unpause it when you're ready. And I'm assuming you have already done that, so I'm going to show you the solution here. Again, if you haven't, you need to try it for yourself. So triangles have 3 sides. I'm going to repeat 3 times, and they have 3 angles. A triangle has 3 angles in it. So that's a total of 360 degrees, and 360 divided by 3 is 120. So if I run this, it should be good to go. Yep. Now what Lesson 7 does is Code.org, they're trying to step you gently into this new concept that I'm going to show you in a moment called nested loops. So to kind of give you an idea of how this works, they first start you on this channel, this challenge, and you see that the artist draws 2 triangles, but they're one on top of the other. So they're trying to tell you, hey, if you turn after drawing the first triangle, here's the first triangle, now turn, now draw another triangle, then they won't be on top of each other. Now I'm going to replay this, and I'm actually going to do a little bit of copying here. And I'm going to put 2 more triangles in. Is it even going to let me? Sad, it's not. Okay, we'll go to the next one, and then you'll be able to see it. So here's where we get into this new concept called nested loops. What if you're in a situation where, right, I know a loop can draw a shape for me, and that's slick, but what if I want to draw lots of that shape? Well, that, if you're thinking about it, kind of means that you probably want to use a loop inside of a loop, right? The first loop draws the shape, but then I want that shape to be repeated, so then I need that whole thing to be repeated a bunch of times. And I really wish they'd let me copy and paste these gray blocks. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make 3 more triangles. I'm going to solve this challenge here without doing the looping method first. I'm going to do it the slow way. Okay, so we draw a triangle, turn right, draw another triangle, turn right, draw another triangle, turn right, draw another triangle. And look at that, I covered them all up. Okay, I did go over the block limit, and that's because I didn't use this new concept of nested loops. You can see there's a repeating chunk of code here. Repeat 3 times, turn right. Repeat 3 times, turn right. Repeat 3 times, turn right. Repeat 3 times, Don't you wish there were a turn right there? Go ahead and put one in there. Now we've got a repeating chunk that keeps repeating 4 total times because there's 4 different triangles. Well, all you got to do is take that repeating chunk and put it inside of a repeat for loop. See? So then you don't need all 4 of these. And that's the beauty of a nested loop. So in very little code, only 6 blocks of code, I can draw all 4 of these triangles. I'm going to go ahead and put the random color inside of there too so that it changes every time we draw a new triangle. And ta-da, we did it. Okay, so that is the basic idea. Now with nested loops, as you can see here, things can get pretty complicated in a hurry because you can put loops inside of loops inside of loops inside of loops. And each level of that nesting means a different thing. Now just looking at this, it's really tough to figure out exactly what this is going to draw. Once we learn how to write functions inside of code.org, that's really going to help clean this up. But in the meantime, look what this makes. Oops. It's neat. Once you get a handle on nested loops, you can make some really complex drawings. Fun, huh? Enjoy.